Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sophie. This is Makes by Sophie, my knitting podcast where I talk about all things knitting. And today the topic is wins and loses of baby knitting for the very early stages. We are here today in my kitchen, as you can tell, and we have the broom in the back. You're balanced on a milk carton and I'm filming on my phone instead of my camera, but this is just the vibe for today's video, I guess. I also have a snoring baby on me, so I'm sorry if you can hear some of that, but this is the time window I have to film this. And maybe this will also be in 2 parts. We'll see when she wakes up and if I get everything done. So today's video is going to be a little bit of me talking about everything that I have learned about baby knitting in the last couple of weeks. I had my daughter in the middle of June, and leading up to her birth, I was crazy baby knitting. And I don't mean only during the pregnancy. I already started baby knitting way before I got pregnant. And in addition to that, I have a mom who really loves to knit, and she also went a little bit crazy with baby knitting, especially considering that my baby was born in an absolute heat wave here in Germany. I think the first 3 weeks of her life, it was never under 25 degrees Celsius. So the baby knits were not worn as much as I would have hoped to, but I still can now say that there's definitely some baby knits that made so much sense that we wore even with that warm weather. After the heat wave, there was a period of really cold weather here, so that's when I kind of tried all of them out and saw what was practical and what wasn't practical. And this is the video where I'm going to tell you what I liked and what I didn't like, kind of the tops and flops of my baby knitting. And yeah, that's the plan for today. Like I said, was knitting a whole bunch before I got pregnant already, because I just wanted to use up scrap yarn, and I knew that the clothes were going to get used either by my baby or by some baby that I could gift the stuff to. But when I got pregnant, with her in mind, I also knit some pieces, and my mom, as I said, went a little crazy as well. So generally I made a list and I kind of thought about what garments exist for babies and what garments would maybe make sense in my mind. So I came up with baby blankets, hats, trousers, tights, cardigans, and pullovers basically. And then there was a category of like fun things like rompers. And then I went on Ravelry and looked for baby knits free and paid for, and I made actually a bundle on Ravelry with all of my favorite baby knits. And that's kind of the list that I went off of. I didn't want us to knit things that were all the same, or like a lot of the same things for the baby that she then wouldn't need. So that's kind of the plan of action that we had. I had that bundle, and we always kind of talked to each other to see what items of clothing either one of us was knitting at the moment and in what size. And today's video is only going to be about size 0 to 3 months, because that's what I can talk about. I will make another video about bigger baby clothes afterwards. So maybe a little bit of a disclaimer or talk about fiber before I start. Definitely would put things to the test, like on the face, and kind of always think about, is this a yarn that I would feel that I would go to bed in, maybe that I would wear to bed? that's maybe a good criteria, because if you wouldn't wear it to bed because it kind of scratches you, then you're not going to want to put it on your baby and kind of give it snuggles. Like, I found that I have one thing in particular that I knit with Tin Per Gint by Sadness Garn that I just don't put on her because I don't like the feel of it at all. I knit with cotton merino, linen blends, superwash merino, and cashmere for our baby. And I think all of these fibers have their place in baby knitting, even in summer baby knitting. My favorite fiber to knit with, or my favorite yarn to knit with, to put on her, was the Knitting for Olive cotton merino. That we have 3 pieces in the cotton merino, and I absolutely love them, especially for a summer baby. Runner up to that is the Cheeky Merino Joy by Rosy Green Wool that I loved, absolutely loved. And I think number 3 would have to be the combination of Knitting for Olive Merino, which is also really soft on its own, but held together with the compatible cashmere, especially for accessories and pieces that don't get dirty a lot. I really love it and will definitely want to knit more in that combination. So that's that on the fibers. Do I have anything to say? No. Let's get into the patterns. So I got my stuff. Just to let you know what we're working with. This is all of it. I did not have time to fold everything neatly. So we're just gonna start with the things that I can absolutely not live without. After that, I'm gonna tell you or show you some things that are nice to have, but maybe not necessary. And then I'm gonna tell you about the things that definitely were necessary. So let's get right into it because we don't have much time. So the first thing that I cannot live without, that we used during the heat wave, that we took baby home in, that she has on her every single day ever since her birth, no matter the weather, no matter the time of day, not during the night because she has a sleep sack then, but it is this blanket. I did not knit this myself. My mom knit this because blankets are just not for me. But this is the blanket. Oops. It's a square. And it is knit up in Rosy Green Wool, Cheeky Merino Joy. I know that. I will put the pattern info over here because I can't remember everything, obviously. This is so soft. I love this wool for baby knits. As I said, we put this on her every single day. It is really breathable because of the pointelle design. She has this in her pram. She has this when she's with us on the couch. She has this on her when she's in the other carrier to kind of cover her legs and her arms when it's a little bit windy out or even a little bit sunny out. I feel like it regulates her temperature very well, and I would not want to miss this blanket ever. We have many baby blankets, so I have tried a few of them, and this one, especially because of that merino wool that my mom used, is my absolute favorite. I would definitely recommend this pattern, but more so this fiber because it is unbeatable, I would say. Doesn't pill, super soft, super airy, super temperature regulating. I love it. Then let's see what else in the absolute have to have category. Baby socks, absolute must. She loses these every 5 minutes. But I would not want to miss them because they're much easier to put on than normal cotton socks, I would say, because they're really stretchy. You can use any type of leftover fiber wool that you have. This one is Lana Grossa's Cool Wool Vintage, I think. Just a superwash merino wool. And I like my socks to have quite a long leg, because that way it covers her little feet when she's in the carrier all the way to where the pants normally ride up. So I love these. These have just a short row heel. We have tried knitting some that are just tubes, and I'm trying them out as we speak to kind of determine whether I like socks more that have a heel or socks that don't have a heel, because in my opinion, these with the heel don't stay on the heel anyways. They always slide down, and I haven't found a solution to not have to pull up her socks every now and then. Let me know if you have a hot tip on that, but I wouldn't want to miss the baby socks. Number 3, and this is a very specific pattern that I have 2 of, and I wouldn't say 2 is too much of this pattern. It is a pattern by Knitting for Olive. It is a little wrap jacket, and my lovely mother knit these 2 in Knitting for Olive cotton merino. This is the first one she knit in this bright yellow, and I love it. She knit this in 0 to 3 months, I think is the size, so not the smallest but the second smallest. And I am in love with the cotton merino for a summer baby. She never gets sweaty when wearing this, not too warm. They are so easy to put on and off a newborn, because even though I work with newborns, didn't really enjoy pulling things over her head at first and didn't want to wake her. That was mostly the thing that I liked about these, that you could put them on to her without her really noticing, because they were a wrap jacket that you can open. They just have this tie closure on them. And this is the second one she knit before we knew the gender. So in pink and blue stripes. I love the little bow tie closure. There's 2 options. You can either knit this flat or have the little detail like this. And I would say these, if you have one of these for your baby for just after birth, you're set, you're fine. So this is definitely, garment wise, the most important thing you're gonna need, I would say. Let's get into another accessory. As I said, Selma was a summer baby, and babies lose a lot of heat through their head, so that's why I found it important to still have some hats and bonnets for her for the newborn phase. And I'm going to show you the one we brought her home in first. It was this one. It is the Anchors bonnet by Petite Knit in this beautiful bright red color. It is made out of merino, fingering merino. You can really use any scraps that you have of non-superwash wool, I would recommend, because these don't really get dirty. You don't have to wash them a lot. This Anchors bonnet was so precious to put on her. I would definitely keep this forever in a little memory box for her as a keepsake, because it is already now, it is so tiny. So the Anchors bonnet was one of my favorite baby bonnets, And then I'm just going to show you 2 other baby bonnet patterns that I really liked and that I liked seeing on her, but without explaining too much about them. So, the second one she wore a lot was this Knitting for Olive bear bonnet, baby bear bonnet. The pattern recommends using mohair held with Knitting for Olive merino, but I am not a big fan of mohair on babies, so I held their compatible cashmere with it and was really happy with the feel. I got so many comments on this hat whenever I took her out with it, also on the softness, and this combination of Knitting for Olive merino with the compatible cashmere is definitely the way to go. Probably not that easy to wash, but I haven't had to wash this bonnet. As I said, bonnets do not get dirty. Third pattern that I would recommend is this one. It is the Rigmore's bonnet by Petite Knit. I knit this one out of linen. That's what it was called for the summer, and it was really good that I knit this, because on some days this bonnet or even this bonnet were too hot for her, and that's when I put this cotton linen summery fiber bonnet on her. This one also has the pointelle design. It was really easy. You could also purchase the pattern and do one without the lace detail on it, and I made a matching romanticist bandana, and this one still fits her. The other 2 don't fit her anymore. I have one more essential that everyone needs, in my opinion, and it has a poop stain on it. So I'm only going to show you this one side of it. It is the Hosenmatz pattern. It's a German pattern. It is so versatile. It grows with your baby because you can fold over the brim, you can fold over on the legs. The ribbing is super stretchy, and it also accommodates for a big diaper butt. We cloth diaper during the day, so I always kind of am on the lookout for garments that will that have room for a little bit of a bigger butt. This garment was knit in Cool Wool Baby by Lana Grassa, which is a super wash fingering weight merino yarn. Yeah, now I showed you the poop stain. This is it. I love it. We have it in many more forms because, as I said, we went a little bit crazy, me and my mom. This one is made from Derarum Natura wool. We also have one in that rosy green wool merino. After she has worn everything, I will go through everything and see what I can maybe give to other people and what were my absolute favorite pieces that I want to hold on to. So now we're onto the category maybe knit it if you have time, but it's not necessary. And we're gonna start off with another baby blanket. This is the second baby blanket that we use the most. It is the pattern En Vol. I don't know the designer, but I will put it here. What it looks like. It is made from a Derarum Natura wool, 100% wool. Pretty bulky, I would say, is the weight. And it is this beautiful cable pattern. I knitted myself, and I also lined it with this beautiful Café Facette fabric that my grandmother passed down to me. This one is a lot thicker than the other one. We use this one to lay her on when she's like doing tummy time on the floor, or when I have to just put her down for a minute. We have taken this one to the lake to lay her on. We have put this over her when she's in her little baby bouncer seat. It is not a snuggly swaddle blanket. It is more of a laying onto the baby or laying the baby onto it type of blanket. But I think if you have the time, or you have a nice relative that you can ask for this, it is a beautiful pattern. It also comes in 3 sizes. This is the smallest one, so you could make a crib sized one as well. And I think especially for a winter baby, this one would also be a great option for in the crib or in the bassinet of the stroller. Yeah, love this yarn. Super soft, even though it's quite a rustic yarn, and loved the pattern. Flew by because of the cables, and yeah, can't complain about it, but not a must-have. The other one is a must-have. This one is nice to have. Another thing that was nice to have is this little sleep sack that I knit out of the rosy green wool merino, cheeky merino joy. And this is self-drafted. I just cast on an amount of stitches here at the top, did twisted rib for about 8 centimeters, I would say, and then increased on both sides to kind of make a little bit of a sleep sack. And nights for us were kind of weird. We didn't know what to dress her in. She would get really, really hot because it would be, we don't have AC here in our apartment, and it would get like up to 28 degrees in the night, and she would just be wearing a diaper or just be wearing a short sleeve body. But then again, it would cool down to like 18 degrees, and then we didn't know what to put onto her, and we would dress her and undress her during the night, and it was a whole thing. And I found that having this little sack was really helpful in the beginning because it doesn't have arms. So we could just, you know, have a long sleeve top on her and then just whoop, put this on. It was so easy to take on and off with diaper changes during the night, and also during the day in the beginning when she was just laying on us. It was really nice to have, and can also be worn when she is unsupervised, as opposed to this blanket, which I wouldn't put on her if I didn't have my eyes on her. So having this was really handy. Yeah, maybe I would put this more into the direction of must-haves, but I think that the blanket is just a little bit more versatile than the sleep sack. But it was nice to have, and I wouldn't want to not have it, I guess. And also on this one, you can see there is minimal pilling. I haven't touched this, and she is kind of wiggling around in it all the time. So I'm so happy with this wool, I have to say once again. Okay, next up in the nice to have category is my cashmere jumper that I knit her. And I couldn't put this in the have to have it category, but if I could, I would. And I couldn't put it in that category because she's a summer baby. I think if she was a winter baby, this would be one of my favorite things to put on her. I knit the top from the Seaside set by Petite Knit in Cardiff Classic Cashmere in this navy blue color, and I embroidered the buttons just not gonna focus. It is. I put this on her when it was cold for that 2-week period, and every time I held her, every time I picked her up, everyone who picked her up was smitten with this cashmere sweater. It is obviously so soft, and it just felt right to put her in this because she's so soft, she's so snuggly, she's kind of this fragile little baby, and I really, really loved putting her in this cashmere sweater. Is it too expensive for a baby garment? Yes. Is it a nice heirloom piece? That was really nice to have, and I knit this in a size 3 to 6 month, I think, and rolled up the sleeves, and she was already wearing it a little bit oversized. She's gonna get wear out of this, which makes me really, really happy because I was very doubtful on the practicality of this thing. I have spot cleaned it. There was a little bit of spit up on there, and I just with some wool wash spot cleaned it. It is perfect. It has not pilled, even though she was even in the carrier with this. It's in perfect condition, and this is one of the pieces that she doesn't change up every day, but she actually has worn a lot, so during that cold weeks. Now it's getting colder again, so I'm gonna put this onto her soon again. The seaside set pattern is really nice, but I don't like the pants. I really like the pullover for the buttons because you can put it on her very easily just by opening these little buttons. So now on to the kind of fails. They're not fails, they're still very cute baby items, but we just didn't get a lot of wear out of them, and that makes me sad. So the first thing, because I just talked about the seaside pullover, were the seaside pants that I made from Petite Knit. This is just a top down little pant with an elastic at the waist and some short row shaping on the butt to make it a little bit higher in the back than the front. This didn't fit over her butt, over her diaper butt. Even with the disposable diapers, I would say it's kind of tight, and I knit it in the 1 to 3 month size. And it, like, the length is not a problem, the waistband is also not a problem, but the space here for the butt is just not enough for us, especially with the cloth diapers. So this sadly was a lose for me. I knit this up in the Cool Wool Baby as well, so it is technically a super wash, and maybe I will give this to someone who has a pretty small baby at birth. Selma weighed about 3 kilograms at birth, so she wasn't huge, but still, I tried this on her at about 3-4 weeks, I think, and it just was too tight. I didn't like the look of it. I like more oversized things, so maybe that's also a reason, but I didn't really like this, just for the shape of it. The next thing I'm gonna show you is a flop, not because of the pattern. I think the pattern is really nice, and I will definitely knit more of it, or one more pullover like that. But I made a mistake when choosing the yarn for this one. It is the Friday pullover, I think, by Petite Knit, and I knit this up in Sunday by Sadness Garn, held or the stripes are Tin Peregrine by Sandnes Garden, and that's where my problem kind of lays. The Tin Peregrine is way too scratchy in my opinion. It doesn't irritate her skin or anything. I have put this on her and she had a long sleeve underneath, but you know, she was in contact with it and I didn't really love the way it felt when I held her. It just kind of doesn't, it's not soft enough for me to put on a newborn. So sadly, this was only used for baby pictures and I haven't put it on her as much, so I wouldn't knit this one in this yarn combination again. However, I really love the stretchiness of the Friday sweater, so I think it, like in another yarn, it would definitely be in another category as well. So yeah, this one was kind of a flop for us, but because of the yarn. Also, I have to say the Sunday is more scratchy than the Knitting for Olive merino, so if I had the choice, I would choose the Knitting for Olive merino. I just remembered something. This one needs to go into the nice to have category. It is by Sandnes Garden, the pattern. It is the Evo tights. And I would love to have this in the must have category because it is just so cute on her. I loved it. I took some pictures of her. Maybe I'll put them in with her face blurred. So cute, but a little bit unpractical with the straps. I think that this would be a pattern that is better suited for older children that kind of wear tights a lot just to hold them up when they're more mobile on the floor. But for a newborn, you really don't need these, and it's more of a hassle to kind of put on. And I found that everything that is kind of one step too much doesn't get worn. You need things that are just on and off really quickly, like these pants. You just slide them on, slide them off. And this one has a tight leg, which is kind of a hassle, and then it has these, and that's why I didn't reach for them that much. She wore them, I think, twice. So kind of in between a flop and that other category with the long name, but because I think she was just too little for them. I knit another one of these in a bigger size, and I will let you know if I find that they're better suited. So the last thing that was sadly a flop were these cute rompers from Petite Knit that I thought were gonna be an absolute hit for a summer baby, but sadly she did not wear these a lot. And I love both of the fibers. This is again the Lana Grossa Cool Wool Baby, and this is a Knitting for Olive cotton merino. I knit this one my mother did. These are just weird pieces to put on because you kind of can't put them on by themselves. If it's hot enough to put on just this, then you actually don't need a wool or like a woolen fiber on a baby. You need cotton or linen or, you know, muslin, something very airy if we're at this stage. And then you have to put something underneath, a body or something, a long sleeve, which then you have two buttons. So you have to unbutton this, and then you have to unbutton the baby onesie, And then when it's hot enough, when it's cool enough to wear this over something, so over a long sleeve or a short sleeve onesie, then you technically have to put tights on them as well, because it's rarely the weather that you don't need tights but need a long sleeve onesie, if you get me. And then it gets complicated because you have this, you have the tights, you have the body, and then you have the diaper. And in our case, you have the cloth diaper. So you have the inner of the cloth diaper and the outer shell of the cloth diaper. And then she's over it after 2 layers, and it just wasn't practical. And also she grew out of these very quickly, and also the butt on these, which is something I find with petite knit patterns, was also too small for the cloth diapers. So if I were to knit this again, which I don't think I will knit these again, I would definitely modify them to like balloon out more on the bottom. Yeah, I think these are the cutest things ever for pictures and everything, but were just not practical for us at all, sadly. And I even opted for 2 buttons down here. My mom did 3 buttons, which is, my boyfriend hated me when I put this on her. He's even more like, it's even more important for him to have practicality in garments. So yeah, these sadly were not our favorite. So these were the things that I kind of pulled out of our cupboard that were newborn to about 3 months size, that we tried out in the summertime with our baby, and my opinions on them. I hope that they were helpful and that you now have more of a plan on what to knit your baby. I definitely know what I want for my next baby during this stage, and I'm definitely well equipped. I won't have to knit that much more next time around. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really liked knitting all of these. It was just a fun thing to do, and I liked showing them to you. Maybe I'll do a pattern roundup video about all of the things that I didn't knit yet that I still would have wanted to knit. But yeah, this was my little talk about tops and flops of baby knitting today, and she is waking up as we speak, so good timing. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a comment below about your experience with baby knitting. Maybe we can have some helpful tips in the comment section that people can browse through. That would make me really happy, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye.